Anyway, I'm not Genesis. I'm Junebug.
Yeah, I'm Genesis,
Yeah.
not you.
And this is...
Let's see how it goes.
Probably shouldn't be that enthusiastic for the topic. Well, the title, I assume, is what draw y'all in.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in a car wreck. I would almost say more than accident.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your car is wrecked.
We'll get to that. On Tuesday.
Yep.
Yes, Tuesday.
Tuesday afternoon.
It was my first accident. You haven't been in one either, have you?
No.
Which is also nice. Don't
Knock
do that.
on wood.
I've been in a ditch before in the winter, but no damage.
Same.
So I was coming home from work, my main work, because I have two jobs, yeah. And I was like maybe 2 miles from the house.
Yeah, a few miles. You weren't far away at all.
No, but I was stopped, blinker on, to turn left. Mm-hmm. My blinker was on, and I always look behind me to make sure, like, no one's a stinker. I'm not in a turn lane, so they are, like, going around.
Mm.
And this white pickup behind me, it was like the last second, like I was thinking in my head, I don't think he's gonna stop him before I could finish that thought. He rammed into me full speed, so 55, 60, and he pushed me into oncoming traffic where I was hit again, and then I was spun to the other, like I did a full loop and almost into the ditch.
Mm.
The pickup was in the middle of the road, hazards on. I never saw the third car, but I think they could drive their vehicle home, I think. That's what they told me, the ambulance. Police got there pretty dang fast. I was not the one who called. I was just sobbing. I was awake, obviously, like I hadn't been knocked out or anything.
Yeah. Well, you did hit the back of your head on your seat.
Yeah, I went... I was driving by myself, which is good, because if anyone was in the back seat, they would be gone.
Yes. Everybody... There's 3 vehicles involved. Each vehicle only had one person, the driver, in the vehicle.
Yes. The guy who helps me pry open my door was very nice. He said Ian with the E. I don't know where the E is, because he was trying to make small talk.
Mm.
Trying to keep me calm. I'm just sobbing, and one of them called the police. Oh, yeah, the Ian with the E was not in the accident. He just pulled over to be nice.
And come to find out, there was a house on that corner that also called the police.
None of the other doors could open, just mine. We'll put a picture in.
Mm.
I won't put all of them. I don't want to make anyone too sad.
Yeah.
Traffic had to be completely shut down on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
An ambulance came. I never asked for one. I'm not quite sure if I had a choice about going in one.
I feel like you do, but under the circumstances, it's not like you had the presence of mind to reject first aid. Not to mention, I don't think it was a good idea to reject first aid either.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, bleeding, I was aware of. They kept asking, are you hurt? I said, I hit my head. Turns out later, my hair clip, like, broke off into my head. It wasn't in my head, but...
Like in your hair?
And then my shin. I was like, just my shin hurts. They're like, your shin? Out of all that, it's your shin? I'm like, yeah. I walked to the ambulance. I thought I was pretty sound in mind, honestly. Maybe that was the shock?
Probably.
Oh. They said adrenaline was going, so I tried to call you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to explain that phone call you got?
Oh, yeah. So she called me while I was on lunch at work. And
Which great timing. I didn't know it was.
Yeah, well, I don't think that really would have mattered given the
Thank you.
sobbing, saying that she was in an accident. So I try to ask her a few questions, like if there's paramedics on scene or if they're on their way. And from what I could make out, because you were also talking to, I assume, this Ian person.
Well, then the police came too. They just, like, bent over and were, like, looking at my eyes. I'm guessing to check my pupils at that time.
Yeah, she may have gotten a slight concussion from it.
We think I might have.
So I immediately stood up, told her to call me back if you find out anything from the ambulance, like if she's injured or what's going to happen. So I go to my boss's office, told him that my wife was in an accident and I got to go. So I immediately left work and started heading towards the accident. And then it wasn't until I got over halfway there that she called and told me that the ambulance had brought her to the hospital. She was a lot more...
I was in the ambulance when I called again.
A lot calmer this time. She wasn't sobbing. Yeah, a lot more...
Collected?
So I flipped around, went to the hospital, eventually met her there after a few minutes. Well, then they also gave you anti-nausea medication in the ambulance.
I started feeling nauseous. I get carsick easily, and I'm backwards in a bumpy ambulance, so that's probably what it was. I'm like, I'm nauseous. I told you over the phone, I'm kind of nauseous. And the EMT obviously heard it because he's this close to me.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can give you something for that. I'm like, oh, like a bucket? He's like, no, I'll just put something in your IV. I'm like, oh. But that stuff worked great. Like, they wheeled me into the hospital. And I was like, oh, I could get on the bed. They're like, nope. And they, like, heaved me with the sheet.
I think we got to the hospital close to the same time because while I was checking in at the emergency station, I heard Trauma 2 come over the PA, which was her. Mm-hmm. And then I couldn't go back to see her right away because they undressed you, got the gown on you. And
they were undressing me. And then I think because they asked in the questioning, like, do you feel safe at home?
Yeah, they had to make sure it was safe for me to, for me to come.
Yes, I feel safe at home, very safe. Much safer than I did at that moment.
Yeah. And then when I finally seen you, you were being wheeled back from a CT scan and an x-ray.
Yes, CT, CAT, I learned it was the same thing from the EMT. They did my head and neck, which my theory was, because I kept saying to them, I'm like, I don't know why my leg hurts. I don't know why my leg. Because this is the one I obviously was driving with. And my fronts that was hit, I think was shoved so far up, it shoves like the metal and pushed my leg in.
Either the steering column or the dash.
My airbags didn't go off, by the way. My car is too old for that.
Well, it has airbags.
Yes.
Well, the 2003 and I don't know.
But some say that sometimes is worse. Like you're to a stop and then poof.
Yeah.
I remember my head like whipping around when I was getting spun.
She definitely got whiplash.
Yeah, my neck hurt. I had to sleep with a neck pillow.
Yeah.
Because like I'd have to, like with a baby, how you have to support their head. Like I was a bobblehead. My head was not.
Yeah.
My neck wasn't very functional. It's almost better now. But yeah, my CAT scan came back fine. My leg was fine. Mm-hmm. Like everything magically was fine.
Yeah, which is crazy compared to how hard she got hit, and two, the shape of the car afterwards.
My car is gone.
Yes.
Which broke my heart. That's one of the reasons I was crying.
Yeah. Car had been in your family since you were a baby.
This car turned 20 this year.
Yep.
Still ran great until it was smushed. I'm a bit salty, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
And then dealing with insurance has been a struggle. We won't get into that because we still don't know quite what's happening.
Yeah, it's all in the process, but some mistakes were made just because we've never been in an accident before, so we weren't sure how that whole process...
And people weren't very helpful at the insurance companies.
Nope. They didn't really explain anything.
And when I saw you, it was nice to see you. Everyone was very sweet. But the EMT took a picture of my car to show the nurses, the emergency room staff, because my injuries did not correlate with how damaged the vehicle was.
We're all very thankful that she walked away relatively injuryless. Sore,
I walked away.
Couple bruises, but yeah, after seeing the shape of the car, it's like, how did you walk away from that?
I don't know. I think that's why the EMT showed her, like, look at her car, and the nurse was like, oh, yeah, everything's pretty much fine. Family and friends have been super nice.
Thank you to everybody that's helped throughout this whole process. It's been an experience for sure.
Dinky, no clue what's happened.
Nope.
I come home and, where have you been?
Yeah. And then when we got home from the hospital, we, called family members and reached out to friends, let them know what happened.
Yes. Well, no, I think I'm doing okay. Knock on wood. I know I got pretty lucky, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's because I've never been in an accident. I don't know if this is a standard or not. But it does feel better knowing I did nothing wrong. I was just trying to go home. I had my blinkers on. Doing the law-abiding citizen things.
Yep. Which one thing we did have to do is get the police report to state to the other guy's insurance company that
I had to pay for the police report.
Yeah.
I get hit by a pickup and have to pay for my police report.
We had to pay quite a bit of money to get her car out of the impound, despite the fact that they towed it maybe a quarter mile because where the accident was, the towing yard was just down the road, not far at all.
I get they have to make money. I'm just a bit salty.
I'm salty about the towing fee, but hopefully we can get reimbursed.
If that's all we end up having to pay for it, that'll be okay with me.
100%, yes.
I haven't received any medical bills yet, but we're hoping we don't have to pay those because I didn't plan on this.
Yeah. Yeah, ambulance ride, emergency room stay, and then the medicine they gave you on
The
top of the
scans.
scans.
X-rays.
Yep, it's not going to be cheap.
But yeah, devastating accident. I'm doing okay. We're just stressed about things.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll figure things out.
Taking it one day at a time.
I almost get sick when I drive now a little bit. It's a bit nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
I almost threw up when someone slammed to a halt behind me. They stopped, but I'm like,
Oh, yeah, the sound of screeching tires is the opposite of music to your ears.
I went back to work Thursday night and Friday. So yeah, I know. I think I may had a quick recovery time.
Yeah, all things considered, I'd say we got pretty lucky. Well, you got the trip next weekend, so did we want to just take a week off?
Yeah, we could do that.
Or we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.